Podcast.
It's Build a Big Podcast, the marketing podcast for podcasters. If you want to grow your podcast audience, get more people to your podcast, make more money, make more impact, and make a podcast that matters, you are in the right place. You can find me at bigpodcast.com. It's easy to remember, right? Because what do you want? You want a big podcast. Well, put a .com behind it, put it in your web browser, and you will be there right where I am right now, bigpodcast.com, broadcasting from Nashville, Tennessee, or should I say podcasting from Nashville, Tennessee in this case, from a 5x8 tricked out closet. That's how we do things in podcasting, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. When I broadcast, and I do broadcast radio, I'm doing satellite radio now as well. The satellite studio, I mean, millions and millions of dollars. The broadcast studio, probably, who knows? I mean, the FCC, just the license, is worth about $20 million. So that tells you how much is involved with broadcasting and satellite streaming. A lot of money, but we don't need that with podcasts. You know what I'm talking into? An RE20 mic, it's about $500. Got a DBX 286. Whoa, man, you know what? I'm getting way off on the super nerd stuff. Forget the equipment, man. That's not why people listen to your podcast. The point is, it doesn't take a lot of money for the equipment. And what I'm going to talk about today, the second part of me looking at this Josh Spector list about finding and discovering your voice, that doesn't take any money either because you've already paid for it. The second thing on his list, leveraging your experiences. He says, no one's experiences match yours. No one's been through what you've been through and seen the world you've seen. On the last episode, the very first thing that I listed off this list of discovering and finding your voice, write what you're scared to write. That's how he describes it. I say podcast what you're scared to podcast, create what you're scared to create, broadcast what you're scared to broadcast. I talked about me being in the music industry. I talked about the concept of a new song and an old guitar. Rewrite a song after you've lived a little bit, after that guitar has dings on it. And it's the same thing here. Leverage your experiences. Get out and live, man. And not only that, again, me talking about the music industry, the reason I approach podcasting the way I do is because I spent 25 years in music marketing. I've got a music degree. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. The first recording session that I ever did, I was 5 years old, man. I've been around this stuff literally all my life, in recording studios all my life. I went to a high school with a full-on recording studio in it. And this was in the 80s. 87 is when I started high school. Graduated in 91. A full recording studio, oh my gosh, really? I mean, these days people don't think anything of it because the equipment is so cheap. But back in the day, man, we're talking about a big room to record in, 2 isolation booths, a 2-inch tape machine, 48 tracks, a big board, huge control room. That's how we do things in Nashville. That's why it became Podcast City. Talked about this on the last episode. Spotify is here. iHeart is here. Apple Music does Beats Radio. That's what it used to be called. Now it's called Apple Radio or Apple Music Radio or who knows what it's called. You got to subscribe to it. Apple Radio. But they do that here. SiriusXM is here. Everybody is here. We got one of the top NPR affiliates in the country, the #1 independent radio station in the country. And those experiences helped me to do well in podcasting, in broadcasting. Same for you. What are your experiences that are helping you to do well with your podcast? Again, he says, no one's experiences match yours. All right, we get that. But think about the combination of experiences that you have. Me putting music and podcasting together. You putting whatever you've done and whatever you're doing together to form a great podcast. I've talked about Zeta Christian before. The oldest podcaster that I know, at least when she started when she was 69 years old. She's well into her 70s now, and she does everything. She preps it, she records it, she edits it, she publishes it. I asked her, what are you doing? You got money? You got experience hiring people? Why are you doing it yourself? She says, I don't want anybody standing in the way from me getting my message out. And here's the thing about Zeta. Again, somebody who's lived a little bit, 69 years when she started her podcast. She also had a spouse that suffered from dementia. So she's got the podcast, My Spouse Has Dementia. She's got experience with marriage and relationships. She's got experiences specifically from her husband having Alzheimer's. That's what Josh Spector is talking about. Developing your voice, you can't fake experience. I could come in as a broadcaster. Hey, everybody. Hey, spouses, caregivers, David here. I mean, I can use the radio voice, use the effects and stuff, but I'm not going to connect like this woman, Zeta Christian, because she's been there, done that. About leveraging your experiences, Josh says this. He says, use them, be inspired by them, milk them for all they're worth. Man, that sounds harsh. Be kind, man. You don't need to milk them for all they're worth, but lean into them. Yeah. When I was starting my music career, and I started in 95, professionally, started my company in 95. I was still in college. Before that, I'd had 10 years of band experience. I was booking, promoting, marketing. That's what informed my voice for broadcast radio. And I'm talking real broadcast radio. I'd done college and a little bit of post-college work, but really diving deeply into it in 2005 when I got into podcasting with Music Business Radio. You couldn't fake it. Because when I sat down with musicians, and I can talk about a Mixolydian scale or whatever, or I can talk about touring, maybe not at the level of the guys that I'm interviewing, but certainly being on the road, playing to an empty crowd, maybe being scared to play, having writer's block. I could connect to them on that way. You can't fake that. That's what made that show great. It's what makes that show great. Been there, done that. When I talk to you as a podcaster, that's what makes this show great because I'm in the trenches doing it. I wake up every morning at 4 a.m. I'm at the studio about 5, on the air at 6 a.m. every single day. You can't fake that, man. This isn't theory. This is really, I would argue, a lifestyle. It's got a career attached to it, maybe, if you're lucky. And I think you can have that if you want it, if you're willing to do the things that Josh Spector is talking about, certainly, such as what I'm talking about on this episode, leveraging your experiences, basically putting out there what you're afraid to put out there, something that has that edge, pushing up against that edge. These are the things that's making you unique. I want to throw out a challenge to you. On your next episode, I want you to think about what you've done in the past or what you're doing outside of podcasting. Maybe it's a failed marriage, a successful marriage, failed career, successful career, something outside of what you're podcasting about. See if you can bring that into podcasting. And you don't have to bring your wife on and your husband on. I'm not talking about that. But maybe a lesson you learned from marriage or from a relationship, a failed relationship or a successful one. Combine that with whatever it is that you're podcasting about. See if you can create a unique episode of the been there, done that kind of thing. I've experienced this kind of thing, and make something that other people cannot copy, something that is uniquely yours based on your experience, but also based on your personality. And leaning into that, not having this nameless, faceless AI generated stuff. You're worried about AI? Man, no. AI doesn't know stories or experiences. It might feel like it does. That's one of the dangers we're worried about. People using AI as a therapist. It seems like it knows you. It's like a parasocial relationship in podcasting. That podcaster, if he's doing his job right, she's doing her job right. It feels like those podcasters know you because they've been there, they've done that, they're in the trenches. And that's you. Been there, done that, in the trenches. The difference between you and AI is because you've really been there and done that. You don't just have the data, you've lived that data. So think about that, bringing something that you were doing outside of the podcast studio or have done outside of the podcasting studio into your next episode, leveraging your experiences. Just try it, man. Do it for an episode. If it works, continue to do it. I'm not talking about failure porn. We talk about writing what you're scared to write, podcasting what you're scared to write, and leveraging your experiences. If you're going to talk about failures, don't lean into that. Man, I was homeless. I was having to beg for drugs. People lean into that way too much. And it's inauthentic. I talked about this on the last episode. Some guy had unfortunately been abused as a kid, and it seemed like he was using it for clicks. It just didn't come off well. People can see that too. So be authentic, connect with your audience, and don't be afraid to bring those non-podcasting experiences into your podcast. That's how you're going to have something unique. And as Josh Spector would say, that is how that you are going to develop your voice. Or as I say, finding your voice, find, develop, whatever. Regardless, you're going to be doing it. And more people are going to connect to your message because more people are going to connect to you. You are attached to your message in podcasting. I want to keep this conversation going with you. If you want to get in touch with me, do this. Go to bigpodcast.com. If you want to subscribe to this podcast, make sure you never miss an episode, including the additional episodes from this series and the one that I just talked about, the one that I did right before this, podcasting what you're scared to podcast about. You can find those things by subscribing at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. I make it easy on you. I've got 3 buttons. Click on one of them, man. iPhone, Android. What are you listening on? One of the 2 usually, right? All right. Well, click on that one. You'll make sure that you never miss an episode. And if you're old-fashioned, you're an old-school guy, and you say, by God, I've been podcasting since 2005. All right, cool. You want an RSS feed? I got it for you. It's right there. All these things, the iPhone link, the Android link, the direct RSS feed link, you'll find them at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. Go there now before you forget. Click on one, and I'll see you on the next episode of Build a Big Podcast.